Hello, this is webhostingrewind.com with another video helping you pick the best web hosting company for your need. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things web hosting related. Also, click the links in the description to learn more about each web hosting company that is discussed on this channel. These links are affiliate links, and I will receive a small commission if you purchase through the links below. Also, if you purchase using the links below, you will receive exclusive bonuses not offered anywhere else. The commissions go to supporting the channel to continue to provide relevant and unbiased information. In this video, I have put together 14 tips to help you choose the best web hosting provider for your needs. Now, these tips are based off of both experience and research that I've done, and so these tips should really help you narrow down to the top 2 or 3 web hosts that are going to be the best for your needs. So let's get right into it. Tip number 1, when they have a free domain, it's usually only free for the first year, and then after that it goes up to $15, $20, and even $30. So when they say free domains, free isn't really free, and you always get what you pay for. So what I recommend, and this actually kind of gets into the second bullet point right away, is that you go to a website like Namecheap or even GoDaddy and buy your domain name for a very inexpensive price. What usually happens again is it rolls up. You can always transfer your domain to different web hosting providers with little to no effort. You can bounce around. That's a kind of like a secret that most people don't realize, but you can bounce around. But what I recommend that you do, and this is going to roll right into tip number 2, as I mentioned, is that you actually buy your domain name at one place and buy your web hosting somewhere else. Sometimes less scrupulous or shady web hosting providers will make you buy everything at one place, and then they actually make it difficult if you want to leave. Now, I don't want to call any web hosting providers out, but this is a dirty little trick to keep people on their platform and to keep taking money from them. What they'll do is they'll actually, instead of letting you buy the domain yourself, for example, webhostingrewind.com, what they'll do is they'll actually put it underneath their branch or their web hosting provider, and then it's not really yours. So that comes with additional controls and restraints. Don't really have the time to get into that, but what I recommend that you do is you buy your web hosting at one place. Like I mentioned, Namecheap is one, GoDaddy is one. There's a ton of places out there, and then get your web hosting somewhere else. You don't have to do that, but this can help you if you need to break up or leave with your web hosting provider. Tip number 3 is I actually recommend that you take a very close look at the terms of service and the terms and conditions. The reason why I think you should take a very close look is because you want to know what can get you in trouble, what can get you kicked off, what are some of the different ways that they're going to try and maybe take advantage of you. Are they going to sell your information? Are they going to sell your traffic? Are they going to throttle your traffic if you start to get too much? Definitely take a close look at the terms and conditions. Maybe watch a few different review videos, like some of the videos I have on my channel here. But you want to make sure that you have a complete understanding of everything that is in the details. As they say, the devil's in the details, and the same goes true with web hosting providers. There are tons of horror stories out there where they lock you in for 3 years. Maybe they say that there's no contract, but they find different ways to lock you in for 3 years. Maybe they say if you try and leave, you have to pay an additional $100 or $150 just to leave, and they kind of get you stuck. So make sure that you read over the terms of service and the terms and conditions before you sign up with anyone. The next tip that I have is, again, when you're looking at the terms and conditions or the terms of service, make sure you read and understand what unlimited means. Sometimes web hosting companies will say that you have unlimited bandwidth. Maybe they'll say that you have unlimited hard drive space. Unlimited is never really unlimited, and you have to take a close look and figure out exactly what they mean. Maybe they mean unlimited, but they throttle your traffic, so that can actually have a negative impact on the amount of money that you make. Maybe they mean unlimited where everybody has unlimited space on this on a server, which, as you know, a server has a finite amount of space, and so you could have bandwidth hogs. There's just a number of issues. Spend a lot of time reading over the terms of service when it comes to what they mean by unlimited. If you can't find out exactly what that means, contact their support. Usually they have a 24/7 chat, and actually that's another secret or tip that I recommend. Contact their support multiple times and see if you get multiple answers to the same question. So what I would do is I would send a message over to support and say, what does unlimited bandwidth really mean with your company? Maybe an hour or two later, I'd send the exact same chat question and see what happens. So that's another trick in there as well, is make sure that you reach out to the support and ask them a few basic questions and see how knowledgeable they are. The next tip that I have is read user reviews for the web hosting provider. Whenever I do a review video, I like to post some of the reviews. The reason why you should look at reviews is you should look for common themes and common traits. Now, there are a number of different websites out there that will help you with reviews, but look for common themes. Some web hosting companies have notoriously bad customer service. Some web hosting companies have notorious bad throttling and other problems that people will wind up fleeing. They may have a very cheap or low introductory rate, but that's because people keep leaving the platform. Make sure that you read user reviews from a few different web hosting providers, and even go to third-party websites. Third-party websites are usually going to be a little bit more honest, and make sure that you are getting the complete picture, and even test out some of those questions yourself and see if they have answers. What you can do, again, you can go back to chat, you can call them if you'd like and say, hey, I'm looking at different reviews and I see a common problem is customer service. What have you done to address the customer service issue that your customers are having? If they have a good answer, they might make it to the next step where you proceed with them. After reading the user reviews, look at the cost that the web hosting rate goes up to after the introductory rate. Now, most companies will offer an introductory rate to new customers. The new rate can be based on monthly, annually, or biannually, whatever. But then after that new rate expires, what does the price go up to? Sometimes the price can triple. It can go up 5-10 times. So you want to make sure that you're aware of that, because you don't want that new rate to sneak up on you. And if that new rate is out of your budget, don't be afraid to switch to a different company. Most companies will help you switch. They'll actually migrate over your website or websites for free. So make sure that you look past the introductory rate and see what the regular or normal rate is if you decide to continue on. The next tip that I have is you actually find a way to back up your website yourself. Now, there are a number of different WordPress plugins that will help you with backing up your website. And the reason why I think that you should back up your own website is if your website catches a virus, if the entire server goes down from your web hosting provider, if they don't do nightly backups, or if you don't trust their nightly backups, you at least have a version or a copy of your website sitting off on a hard drive somewhere. For example, there's a plugin that actually will save your website every night to a Google Drive. So that can actually help you out and make things a lot easier for you in the event your website gets damaged somehow. All right, after that is what I recommend is you actually spend some time researching the company. One dirty little secret in the web hosting community is that a lot of these sites are owned by the same company, and so it may seem like they're competing against one another, but in reality they're pushing business one way or another. So make sure you spend some time in research, figure out exactly who owns the company, find out the history of the company, if it's had any major security errors, security issues, have their servers been compromised. Spend a lot of time, because your website is money. If you ever put ads, if you're planning on selling products or services, or if you're doing other types of marketing, you want to make sure that this web hosting company is a good representation of you, and your website will be up 99.999% of the time. So make sure that you spend some time researching the company. After that, what I recommend is that you either turn off recurring payments or you set a calendar reminder. This goes more towards after you purchase the web hosting. What I recommend is that you either set up a calendar reminder for maybe 30 to 60 days before your web hosting plan is set to expire, or turn off recurring payments altogether. Because what will happen is within 30 or even a 15-day window, they will automatically renew your web hosting and your domain name. If you're not satisfied with the company, this is a perfect opportunity to jump ship and go to a different provider. And what will happen is if you do not have recurring payments turned off, they'll automatically bump you up to that higher rate, and that could actually have a negative impact, especially if you're not anticipating it. So make sure that you turn off recurring payments, or at least set a calendar reminder for maybe 90 days before your web hosting plan is set to expire. After turning off recurring payments, I recommend that you actually figure out the type and level of security that they have and that they use. Are they using multi-factor authentication? What type of security do they have on their servers? What type of security is required to contact help desk or chat with help desk? This is critically important, again, because your website is your money, and if your website is ever compromised, it can be very difficult to get it back. So make sure that you look and see what type of security they're using both internally and externally. How are they handling client accounts? How are they handling sensitive information? Do they sell your information? These are all questions that you need to ask, because this is going to be important, especially if your website gets pretty big, because there will be multiple people trying to make attempts on your website every single day. After that, understand the different types of web hosting. Now, I talk a little bit about this on this channel. Traditionally, there are 3 types of web hosting. There's shared, there's VPS, and then there's dedicated. If you're just getting started, I recommend looking at shared, because shared is going to be the least expensive option. It's a good way to get acclimated with creating a website and web hosting, all of those good things. There are some downsides as well. If you are starting to get traffic to your website, I recommend that you look at jumping to VPS, which is a virtual private server. There are tons of benefits to having a VPS, but it does come with an additional level of technical experience. Now, the technical experience can be found on YouTube. It just requires a little bit more knowledge and information. And then dedicated hosting is a step above the VPS. One of the drawbacks of shared hosting is you're sharing space, you're sharing hard drive, you're sharing server space, essentially, with hundreds, if not thousands of people. The drawback comes in if that server is oversold, or if there is a bandwidth hog, if there's a person that's consuming all of the resources, that can have a negative impact on your website. So if you are just getting started, you're brand new, you've never had a website before, you're dabbling in online business, start off with a shared hosting provider, shared hosting plan, and then as you start to get traffic and you build your business, quickly move up to VPS. If you plan on having multiple websites, jump up to VPS. All right, so after understanding the different types of hosting, understand your needs. And this kind of goes into the different types of hosting. In the beginning, you most likely don't have any traffic unless you have a brand, or if you have some sort of business that you set up over on like another social media platform. If you have 0 subscribers, you have 0 followers, you have 0 people that are going to check out your website, you can start off with low amount of resources. You don't need that much, and then gradually you can upgrade. That's why I say start off with shared if you're starting from scratch, and then let's say once you get to maybe 500 views per month, start looking at going up to a VPS or something else along those lines. There's no hard and fast rule as exactly when you should switch to these other types of web hosting, but once you start getting to 500, 1,000, then you're starting to look at an actual business that you can monetize in some way. But you need to understand your needs. Are you going to use this website for e-commerce? What type of content management software are you going to use? Are you even going to use content management software? Are you going to do the programming yourself? Or are you going to use something like WordPress? Once you understand those needs, that'll put you in a better position to understand the type of web hosting that you should purchase. The next tip that I have is check out the additional features that are included. Some companies, the new up and coming companies, will give you a ton of features that you may not even need. They're helpful, but you may never use or take advantage of those. If you are brand new, if you're just getting started, you probably don't need a ton of features. You just need something that's going to be relatively fast, that's going to have resources, and that's going to give you the flexibility to do what you want to do. Again, as you graduate, as you start getting more traffic, the companies that have these additional features may be something that you're looking for. But with additional features usually come additional costs. So you want to make sure that you're weighing the cost and the benefit of what you're paying for. And the final tip that I have for you today is try and figure out how the web hosting company is going to nickel and dime you. Some companies will charge you for the amount of time that you spend with support. Some companies may try and charge you if you want to leave altogether. Make sure that you understand, and this goes back to reading the terms of service and the terms and conditions. Make sure that you spend time and you understand exactly what you're getting into. The more shady companies that are out there are going to try and squeeze every penny out. Again, there are some companies out there that if you call them, they're going to charge you not necessarily 10 cents a minute, but they're going to charge you a service fee. If you reach out to chat and it's after hours, they may try and charge you a service fee. Make sure that you spend time trying to learn everything you can about your web hosting provider, because you are entering in a business relationship with them. You may think, hey, I'm just getting web hosting for a website, but in reality, once you invest in a website, you are saying, hey, I want to become a business, I want to become a brand, I want to become an entity, and you're starting to do business to business transactions. And you want to make sure those transactions you are 100% comfortable comfortable with. To learn more about this web hosting company or any other web hosting company discussed on this channel, be sure to check out the links in the description. Once again, this is Web Hosting Rewind, helping you pick the best web hosting company for your needs. Also, if you purchase using the links below, you will receive exclusive bonuses not offered anywhere else. The commissions go to supporting the channel to continue to provide relevant and unbiased information. Thank you and have a great night.